Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds. If you'd like to join the family, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Also, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays where I go live on YouTube, or outside of my YouTube, you can consider joining the Facebook group I've created or the Discord I've created. There's links for those down in the description below. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. That is a great place for you guys to check out the different meals and recipes that I have been enjoying as I've been working towards my weight loss goals. Today is day 1018 of my challenge to lose 300 pounds. So far, through a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, I have been able to lose 271 pounds. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you are struggling with your diet, let us know what's causing your struggles. Maybe there's something that we can help you with. If you're succeeding with your diet, let us know about your success. Share that with us, and maybe we can learn something from you. And at the end of the day, what are some things that you can do or that you are doing that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Let's go ahead and switch over to the main screen here. Hello. Few people checking in here. Cindy Davison, hi. Linda, Pretty Girl's mom, Jennifer Diamond. Let's see, Carrie's checking in saying she's out and about with the girls, but she is listening. So hello. I hope everybody had a great day or great evening since we talked yesterday. Let me see. I did not do a good job taking photos, so I only have a couple of food photos here. Let me pull those up. So I just have dinner from last night. This is a meal that is on our Pinterest board. It is like, it's very similar to Mega Veggie Chili, but it has rice in it. It's like I don't know what it is. Maybe Carrie will be able to tell me the name of it, but it is like a taco recipe. It might even been from Chef AJ's Reboot, but I can't remember. But that was dinner last night. Lots of wonderful vegetables in there. Then this morning I had my oatmeal. I did not take a photo of the broccoli I ate, but I did have a bag of broccoli, and I also had potatoes and broccoli for lunch. Also not photoed. I need to get better at doing that, or get back into the habit of taking my food photos. Many of my food photos over the past few days have been like halfway through me eating my meal and then me realizing, oh, I forgot to take a photo of it. So got to get back into the habit of it. Jennifer Diamond here checking in with a non-scale victory. Let's see. Non-scale victory is that it is my 4th week trying raw. Like everything, it has been a learning curve, and you are enjoying it. That's awesome. How are you enjoying doing the raw diet? And a static sound on the audio. It's probably mine. Let me try this. Let me know if that is any better. Pretty Girl's mom said they heard it too. And the dinner that we had yesterday was the vegan Instapot Tex-Mex rice. So, and Cindy says the audio is better. So Jennifer says that they're following the Raw Food Romance 30-day meal plan and even made her hand salad wraps. Okay. Yeah, I think I've heard of the raw food romance. I'm not sure though if I've ever checked them out. Are they, well, I guess what platforms are they big on? Sometimes people have big YouTube channels or Instagram or I don't know, Facebook, other different platforms, but I might have to check that out. I don't have too much interest in doing a raw diet. And Carrie here says that Chef AJ has been making those wraps like mad, it seems. Hey, Tennis and Yoga Girl checking in. Hello, everyone. Hello, Tennis and Yoga Girl. Jennifer says that it's lots of chewing and chopping. She is on Chef AJ. Okay, so that must be something that Chef AJ's been trying. Let's see. Cindy here says that Lisa, so Lisa must be the raw food romance lady, was on Chef AJ. She created a great wrap for sandwiches. Lisa and Nate are on raw food romance. Okay. Yeah, I've seen lots of stuff about eating a raw diet. There's a lot of things that we eat that end up being raw. I definitely have a much higher content of raw food in my diet than I did before. Liza, it's Melissa, so it's Liza. Everybody's correcting. I just read it quick. I don't know these people. Melissa, is it Lissa? Lissa, like Melissa. Lissa, I bet. Okay. Lissa and Nate. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check out and see their spell check kept changing it. Okay. Lissa for Melissa. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look into that and see what their what is it, a wrap? What were you guys talking about? A wrap for sandwiches? So do they sell the wrap? Or is it a wrap that you make? I don't know. Everybody seems to know about it. Let's see. It's a wraps. So, Jennifer here says that she thought she would never want to try going raw, but it is helping her figure out what grains she is sensitive to. Yes, Lissa, like Melissa. Christy M says, hello, tuning in late. No problem, Christy. We're just getting started. I ended up starting at 4:30, so I started late. So you're not that late. Cindy here says that she makes them. They are plant-based. We can make it. So it's something that you can make on your own. See if I can pull up raw food romance. Lisa's raw food romance. Lissa's. Yeah, they have a bunch of different things. So yeah, it must be a wrap that's made from raw food, which is probably tough to make. That makes sense now. And she has an ebook on the recipes for the wrap. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of things that going raw, I would have a hard time giving up. But like Jennifer kind of said, if you're feeling like you're sensitive to things, then kind of going to that and then, checking and seeing what you have sensitivities towards. That's kind of like the autoimmune protocol kind of, or any, elimination diet. You eliminate as much as possible and then you slowly add things in and see how you react when you add those things in. Yeah, I have a hard time with the raw because I just like warm food so much. I have a real hard time eating anything that's or considering anything that's cold a meal, I guess, is what it ends up being. Is that for me, a meal is cooked, and that's obviously just a product of years of conditioning, I guess, that I've always had a cooked meal, when in reality, you don't necessarily need that many, or you don't need all your meals to be cooked, I imagine. And I have, like I said, increased my food or my raw food intake in the fruits and vegetables that I do eat. So yeah, let's see. What was I going to talk about? Back to the basics. I talked a lot yesterday about getting back on track and getting back to the whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet. And it's been good. It's been good getting back and getting a full stomach of unprocessed foods in me. That's been the thing that I've been struggling with the most, is not allowing any of those high dopamine, high processed foods to be in my diet. Because if you allow any amount of those highly processed foods in your diet, it's extremely tough to convince yourself to eat the healthy food that is not as dopamine stimulating. And that's one of the things that they talk about in the Pleasure Trap book, is the myth of moderate change. The idea that you can slowly make changes, or you can switch to eating this diet while still consuming the Pleasure Trap foods, still consuming the highly processed foods. Because if you have this buffet table of what you allow yourself to eat in front of you, and you have kale and spinach and mushrooms and red peppers and potatoes and rice and beans and all of these wonderful foods, but you also have cake on that table, you're going to go towards the cake every time. You're going to go towards the food that is going to stimulate you the most. And even if you try to convince yourself that, oh, I'm just going to have the cake after I eat my other food, subconsciously, you're going to be saving room for that cake or for extra cake. And if it's on the buffet table, you're going to take it as much as you can. Your mind is going to convince you, oh, well, you'll just work out more, so eat that extra, eat that cake, or you'll eat less tomorrow, just eat that cake. Just having it on the buffet table is the mistake. You need to clear it off, and you need to replace it with maybe something that's a little bit higher calorie, maybe avocado, maybe cashews, dried fruit, something like that is still on your diet, but doesn't have that same dopamine response that the highly processed sugars are going to give you, or the processed seed oils, things like that. Cindy here says that they see many YouTubers who demonstrate whole food plant-based recipes using salt and oil. They look terrific, but I suppose you don't know how healthy someone is by looking at them. Yeah, and health is measured in so many different ways. It's tough to know. And I guess I kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday with restaurants, but people who create recipes also need the recipes to be something that people will make again, or they'll recommend to their friends. And so these people who are making these whole food plant-based recipes are also competing with highly processed foods. So they want to try to make their whole food recipe taste close to what a processed version of that food would taste like. They may add things in like salt or sugar or oil to give that recipe that little kick so that somebody likes it. it's yeah, it's tough to know how much of that they, because you can make recipes and you can recommend recipes, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're eating the recipes that you're recommending, as far as like somebody who's on YouTube. And so if I guess the people the Well Your World, I don't watch them a lot, but I believe that they eat a salt, oil, sugar-free diet, but some of their recipes might have salt, oil, and sugar in them. I don't know. I guess I don't follow them enough, but so it's tough to know what people are recommending, what they're showing recipes for doesn't necessarily correlate to what they are eating directly. It's just what they're trying to market or sell out there. But you can't know how healthy someone is by looking at them in some ways. There's when I was 520 pounds, you could look at me and say that person is not healthy, and you'd have been right. And I don't know that there's very many 520-pound people in the world that anybody would look at and say that person is healthy. And that person, like that 500-pound person, would have the records to prove that they're healthy. Pretty Girl's mom says that they are SOS free. Do all of their recipes Are all their recipes SOS free, or do sometimes they make recipes that have salt in them, or recommend, or you could add salt to this? I mean, you can add salt to any recipe, I guess, but yeah. So when you're overweight, you can, all their recipes are SOS free. Okay. When you look at somebody overweight, you can kind of tell, but when people are a healthy weight or they're underweight, it is hard to tell. And that's that's a scary thing for those people. For me, it was obvious at that time that I was unhealthy, and now I still probably am unhealthy, but it's less obvious that I'm unhealthy. Or I'm yeah. But so what was I talking about? Getting back to the basics, getting back on track, avoiding that myth of moderate change and the myth of moderate consumption. That was something that both of those things play in my head a lot over the past 3 years. And I don't even try to moderately consume anything. If it's on my buffet table of things that I'm willing to eat that day or that week or month or whatever, I eat them as much as I can. And it's always been that way. And it's something I feel like we try to change, and we can't, and we don't have to. We don't have to change our need for a large volume of food. We just have to change the content of the food that we eat. The Shrinking Shadow checking in, saying hello everyone. Hello, Shrinking Shadow. Hope you're having a great day. The idea that you can have something unhealthy and you can moderate it. It's possible in the short run, but it's the day to day to day to day. It's the 300 days from now, 600 days from now, 1,095 days from now. Can I still eat that food and keep it moderate in my diet. It's something where you may say, I'm just going to have one serving of pretzels a week, but then when it comes up time for that one serving, do you hold yourself to that one serving, or do you maybe let yourself have a second serving? Do you find some excuse? Oh, I had a long day. I worked hard today. I deserve to have that second serving of that food. Or I didn't have a full serving last week, so I'll have 2 servings this week. Or, there's nothing else for me to eat that's handy, so I'll just have it this time, even though I did have it yesterday. Just you make up excuses to allow more of that food to invade your diet. And I had it happen this past couple weeks, I'm just going to have Chipotle one time. And then 2 days later, it's like, well, I'll just have Chipotle again. I haven't had anything to eat. And then it becomes a every other day thing for 2 weeks. And it takes effort to get back. Glow's checking in saying, hello, Glow. Hope you're having a great day. And so the myth of moderate consumption, the idea that you can have a little bit of something that's unhealthy, and then also, like they talk about in the pleasure trap with the myth of moderation, is that if you feel that the food you are eating is unhealthy or any way, or can lead to some type of disease down the line, then there's no amount of it that is an appropriate amount of it. There's, to an alcoholic, there's no amount of alcohol that is an appropriate amount of alcohol to eat. There's, in my opinion, there's no healthy amount of dairy. Like, that's something that I have not had dairy in 1,018 days. And I believe, from what I've read and studied, that dairy is probably one of the worst offending foods that we have in our diet that causes obesity or leads to obesity. There's no healthy amount of dairy in your diet. It's not something that humans are supposed to consume. If you're drinking a mother's milk, that's one thing, but drinking cow's milk, drinking goat's milk, I don't believe there's any healthy amount of that. And the same can be said for lots of other products. And so, like, if a little bit of processed foods leads to a little bit of excess weight, and that little bit of excess weight gain leads to a higher risk of heart disease or stroke, then you're introducing that into the possibility of things. If you don't eat processed foods and it keeps your weight down, reduces or doesn't increase your chances of heart disease, then that's the better choice. Karen here says, everyone just got done with Chef AJ. I hope they had a great, I hope she had a great live there. Glow says she made the wraps as well, and they are so good. We're going to have to check these wraps out, and see what everybody is raving about here. And then the other myth, the myth of moderate change, the idea that you can slowly get back into a diet, or slowly get into. So initially, and when I read the pleasure trap, the myth of moderate change was about changing to this whole food, plant-based diet. Now I look at it from an aspect of, getting back on the whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet. And the idea that you can eat a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet while still having a little bit of junk food, or the idea, where the idea kind of comes in too, is that you're transitioning from a processed food diet to a non-processed food diet. The food doesn't taste as good. The healthy food doesn't taste as good as the processed junk food. And again, like I said, if you have that buffet table of food in front of you and you have carrots and potatoes and mushrooms and onions on one side, and you have Chipotle and pretzels and crackers and chips on the other side, you're going to fill your plate with the processed foods. You're going to choose those processed foods over the healthy foods because they stimulate your brain more. They fall into that motivational triad, the seeking the pleasure, conserving the energy. And so in order to have an effective results, and in order for this diet to take true effect, you have to do a 100% overhaul of your diet. And that's what I did. When I started this, I was 520 pounds, and I decided I was going to do a reset, and I was going to do a water fast. And while I was water fasting, I would research, I would find out how to eat. And I didn't know it at the time, but where it would lead me was to a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet. And the fast was awesome for me as a reset, as a tool to get my taste buds away from being constantly bombarded with sugar and oil and salt. And then when I switched over to eating a whole food, plant-based diet, even after fasting for 40 days, the food wasn't as tasty the day after the fast as it was 3 weeks later. It's not until you start eating the food over and over that your body starts to respond to the changes in the taste. And in order to do that, I had to fast, and I had to wait 3 weeks. And then we were eating mega veggie chili, and I looked at Carrie and I said, "This is the same recipe you've made 3 times already?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "This is awesome. I'll eat this any day." And we have it once a week for the last 2.5 years. We have mega veggie chili, and it's something that in order to do it, you have to make the 100% change. You have to, you can't go 90% of the way there or 95% of the way there, because for week 1, you'll be at 95%. Week 2, you might still be at 95%, but then week 3, maybe you let it slip to 92%. And then the next week it's 88%. And then the following week it's 70%. And then before you know it, you're off your diet. And that's why I believe that for success, 100% compliance, abstinence from the processed foods is going to create the best environment for success. Glow here says, "So do you recommend fasting?" I'm not a doctor. Let me say that first. I think fasting is awesome. I don't think anybody has to fast as long as I did a water fast. I think that the best part about doing a water fast is using it as a reset. Look at your diet and say, what is in my diet that needs to be removed? What am I unable to get rid of? And then, use a water fast as that mechanism to reset the diet. To say, okay, Before my water fast, I had oil in my diet. After my water fast, I don't have oil in my diet anymore. I don't believe you have to do a water fast. You know, my wife, Carrie, she switched over to this diet. She was eating pretty much the standard American diet up until we switched, and she kind of went, cold tofurkey into this diet, and she did wonderful. But she had tried water fasting, and it wasn't for her. It wasn't something that she could voluntarily choose not to eat. And so her transition, she was eating more fruits and vegetables than I was. So it might not have been so tough for her, but it still took a couple weeks for her to get used to it. Carrie actually is responding here. She says that she still didn't, or good food still didn't taste very good for about a month for her after switching to eating this way. And that's the hard part for people to understand, is that it takes time for our bodies to adapt, our taste buds to adapt to the different things. But yeah, I don't think you have to necessarily fast either. You could mono diet. You could do a potato fast, rice diet for a few days, even juice fasting for a few days as well. Just something, like I said, fasting for weight loss is not something I'm going to recommend. I did lose a lot of weight fasting, but I didn't keep the weight off fasting. And in the past, I had done water fast before I started this channel, where I lost a bunch of weight water fasting. But every time I got off the water fast, I went back to the way I was eating, and I gained all of the weight back. And so while I lost a good amount of weight water fasting, eating a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet is what kept that fasting weight off, and then helped me lose an additional 180 pounds. And so it's definitely the diet that is going to help you maintain the weight loss and to continue the weight loss after the water fast. I was under the impression when I started this channel that I was going to water fast my way to a healthy weight. I was going to do a long water fast to begin, and then I was going to do, 3-day water fast every couple weeks. I didn't have a plan, but I knew I thought at the time that I was going to try to use fasting as my mechanism for weight loss. And I realize now that that was a mistake. And I think it's a mistake I still see lots of people on the internet doing, is trying to put all of their eggs in this fasting basket. And the problem is there's no longevity to it. You can water fast for a while. I've seen people that have water fasted for months, but it's not a long-term plan. If I would have water fasted, if I would have stuck to my water fast and fasted for 90 days or 250 days or something crazy, 40 was crazy, but something even crazier than 40 days, maybe I would have got to my healthy weight. Maybe I would have got to the 220 pounds through water fasting alone. But I never would have learned how to properly feed myself, what foods to eat to keep the weight off and to maintain the weight loss. Monique here says that you were so right, Jonathan. She opened a fresh bag of steel cut oats and it smelled amazing. If I had been eating processed foods, it would not have smelled so good. Yes, yeah. Even the food we had last night, like, it was good, but it could have been better, and it will be better a week from now when we have the same or a similar recipe. But because I'm not away from that processed food more than 24, 48 hours, it still didn't have that same flavor, I didn't get the same flavor response because I've been eating the junk food. The Shrinking Shadow says, what's hard for me is giving up the avocado. Why is it in your house then? Why are you buying it? You only eat it once a week or twice a week in very small amounts. And when you do have it, your weight loss would be faster if you gave it up completely, maybe. Yeah. It could. It's something where, if that's the worst, if you're looking at your diet and you're looking at your buffet table of the foods that you are allowing yourself to eat, and you're looking at it and avocado is the biggest offender, then, and you're not seeing the success you want to see, then taking avocado off the buffet table is going to be what you need to do. But if you remove, the tough part is, I talk about removing foods from the buffet table. That doesn't mean you don't eat that same volume of food, like you get rid of the avocado, or, I'm not sure what you're eating it on. If you're eating avocado toast, that was what my problem was. I was eating it on Ezekiel bread, and I was eating like a full avocado a day, or more than half an avocado a day, on multiple slices of Ezekiel bread. So, and if you're still seeing positive, let's say, you're eating the avocado and you're still seeing weight loss, I don't know how much I would worry about the additional 1/10 of a pound you're going to see each week. But if it's keeping you from losing 1/10 of a pound each week, then getting rid of it. There might be some things you can substitute. Let's see here. The Shrinking Shadow. Karen says, the Shrinking Shadow, I ate nuts, almonds, and walnuts the entire time I was losing weight. And maybe that kind of goes into what I was just saying, is that if you're still losing weight while you're eating those things, then you need to be happy with the weight loss. And maybe there's a little bit of it you need. I'm not sure. But it's, it might be the difference between 1/10 of a pound more a week or not. It might not even be 1/10 of a pound. It might be 0.005 of a pound that you might see a difference in each week, by eliminating it. So it would be, and there's people that get to a healthy weight eating nuts and eating avocado, and there's people that get to a healthy weight eating dairy and other junk food, like it really depends on how much you want to supplement your diet with activity. But if you're just trying to lose weight through diet alone, then the closer you can get to that, perfect diet, the better results you're going to see. But yeah. Carrie here says that she cannot eat any extra fat. It just her body just clings onto it. Yeah. It seems that anytime we have the avocado or the oily foods or anything like that, that it's definitely slows down or keeps Carrie from losing weight. Cindy here says for Cindy, she went all in, going from the standard American diet way of eating to a whole food, plant-based SOS free. I would think going into it one big toe at a time would be especially hard. Yeah. And you're never going to choose carrots over donuts. It's just not going to happen. You need to make it a choice between carrots and celery, or mushrooms and onions, and not mushrooms and marshmallows, because you're going to lean towards the processed foods. And it's tough. And it's, I see examples of where I tried doing that so many times in the past and it never worked. It was, the idea, oh, I'm just going to order a big salad before my dinner. That way I fill up on salad and then I eat less of the dinner. It doesn't work. I eat the whole salad and then I eat all of the dinner that's in front of me. It's not, it doesn't deter me from eating all of the junk food by eating, preloading your meals with healthy foods and then assuming you're going to eat less of the processed foods. For me, I would always just find room in my stomach for the food. The Shrinking Shadow says, I'm just worried that if I give it up while losing weight, after I lose my weight and I'm at goal, if I eat some, then would I put the weight back on? Your thoughts and thank you. I have that same, we cannot know what is going to happen when we get to a healthy weight. So spending any time stressing over that future it's somewhat of a waste of time. And I'm not trying to it's tough because it's the same thing with the loose skin. I get people ask me about loose skin or, what are you going to do about your loose skin? Well, I don't have any idea what I'm going to do about my loose skin because I'm not 220 pounds yet. I'm not 200 pounds yet. So to be worried about what your diet's going to be 6 months from now or 5 months or 10 months or 2 years it can be constructive, but it can also it can give you that anxiety that you don't need to have. You need to worry about your diet right now because you're eating this way right now. And somebody was just talking about eating like raw food, maybe 6 months from now, you're going to be into raw food, so worrying about avocado today or getting rid of it today. And then what's going to happen when I eat it 6 months from now, you don't know that you're going to be on this diet in 6 months or this version of this diet in 6 months. And I would hope you are. And that's my goal, is to be on this diet for the long term. But yeah, it's avocado didn't make you fat. I can guarantee that you didn't sit there for 20 years just eating bowls of avocado to get to your heaviest weight. What you were probably eating was McDonald's and Burger King, Lay's potato chips and Oreo cookies. It wasn't avocado that made you fat. Avocado, I don't think that it'd be impossible to do. But if somebody had laid out their food buffet in front of you and the worst food in front of you was an avocado, I bet that person isn't that overweight or they're working towards getting to a healthier weight. Avocado is not going to make you fat. It might make you retain some fat. It might make you gain a little bit of weight, but it's not going to put the weight back on. Don't worry about that. And so, yeah, that's the, but also worry about your diet today, worry about your diet this week. And you said, good point, one day at a time. It is one day at a time. And if you're worried about it, just don't have it in your pantry. Don't put it on your shopping list. Don't have it in the house. It makes it really easy not to eat it. But Yeah, you never know. Let's see. Jennifer here says, you never know. I try to stay in the moment and it's easier to walk through the day. Ron here says, make your way to a healthy weight and be that person. Let that person decide. They might make different decisions. Yes. Like and that fear that you're talking about, and I've done it too. That fear kept me from starting diets, kept me from sticking to diets. What if I can't do this 6 months from now? What if this happens down the line? And so that fear, don't let that fear be the reason why you quit, because it's unknown what your future will hold. Let's see. Monique says, for health, it really is one forkful at a time. And then Karen says, the shrinking shadow, that's the issue. Some people do it and gain weight back. I ate the nuts the entire time so I could still eat them when I reached my goal. So that's one kind of philosophy to have with it, is that if I have it in my diet, I didn't figure out a way to get to my goal, or, it's something where I've had this thought with salt. Anytime I eat salt, I gain 10 pounds from when I don't have, if I go a period of a week or a couple months with no salt, I eat a little bit of salt, I gain 10 pounds. And so I've thought about, like, what if I just keep a little bit of salt in my diet so that I have that 10 pounds of fluid on me, but then work to get to my goal weight? Or what do I keep the salt out till I get to 220 pounds and then make that decision then, and decide if I want to eat the salt and then have it cause me to go up to 230 pounds and then fight back to 220, or get to 220 and decide, hey, I'm going to keep the salt out because I want to get to 200, because, that's really kind of my goal. Like when I started this challenge, getting to 220 seemed to be an impossible task. And it wasn't until about 100 pounds ago that I was thinking, maybe 200's a better goal, because that's closer to a healthy weight for somebody my height. So that is kind of where I'm at with that. Yeah. See, Shrinking Shadow says, I definitely didn't grow up on avocado, but I definitely did eat a lot of junk food and animal products. Yes, we'll keep the junk food out, keep the animal products out. And I would hope to think that you wouldn't be able to reach where you were. And if you were, I would love to see that documented. If you were to get to a healthy weight and then gain all the weight back just by eating avocado and nuts. See, Karen here says that Dr. Lisle always says to eat the foods you want while losing so you can eat them after. Okay. I had not seen that, but it does make sense. Like, as long as they're still health promoting foods, and avocado really is a health promoting food. Nuts are definitely health promoting over the alternative for the same calories. And so, yes, says, Karen, thank you. Yes, Karen, thanks for the advice. Everybody, thanks for the advice. You think back to what I was talking about, getting back to the basics, focusing on the myth of moderate change, the myth of moderate consumption, volume eating, calorie density, the two big things that I did not understand prior to eating this way, or I didn't know the impact that volume eating and calorie density would have on this diet. And if you don't know what volume eating is or calorie density, I guess a quick rundown. Well, volume eating is, I guess for me, the idea of volume eating is the idea that we all eat a certain volume of food. I may eat 5 pounds of food per day. You may eat 4.5 pounds of food per day. You may eat 6 pounds of food per day. But we all have a natural preference for a volume of food that we like to eat. If you were to go back over the past 100 days, or if you were to start now and for the next 100 days, weigh everything that you eat, the weight of it, not the calorie count, the weight of it, it would likely have a similar weight day after day or week after week. So when you look at your diet, or when you look at people who are grossly overweight, you can generally, I would say, most times assume that those people eat more food than their underweight counterpart. And I see that a little bit with my kids. I have some kids that eat more food than other kids, and those kids that eat more food seem to be, sorry. I have some of my kids eat a more volume of food than my other kids, and the kids that eat a higher volume of food, they weigh more than the kids that eat the lower volume of food. And that happens with everybody. And so, what you have to do then is you have to realize, okay, I'm the type of person that is bottomless. I'm the type of person that eats 5-6 pounds of food when it's available. And instead of doing what every other diet does and say, okay, I'm going to eat half of what I used to eat, I'm now going to go from eating 6 pounds of food to eating 3 pounds of food every day. Your body doesn't like that. Your body says, we're a 6-pound system, bud. And it's just like undersleeping. You can do it for a certain amount of time, but eventually it catches up. And your body says, hey, you've been giving us half the food that we've wanted for the last 3 months. We're going to, we're going to fight back. And it does. But if instead you embrace the idea that you eat a large volume of food, but you change the calorie density of the food that you're eating, you can put yourself into a caloric deficit while still satisfying your body's volume needs. If instead of eating the fast foods, the junk foods, the dairy, the meat products, all of these items that are 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,000 calories per pound, if you switch to eating whole natural foods like spinach and kale, which are 100 pounds per calorie, fruits and vegetables that are 200 to 300, fruits that are 200 to 300 calories per pound, starchy vegetables like potatoes and rice that are 400 to 500 calories per pound. You can eat that 6 pounds of those foods that have 500 calories per pound, and you've eaten 3,000 calories for the day. And that seems like, oh, that's still high. But if you compare it to the 6 pounds of food that you used to eat that was 1,500 calories per pound, then you're realizing that you were eating a 9,000 calorie diet. And so eating the same volume of food, you still get 6 pounds of food in your stomach. You go from eating that 9,000 calorie diet to a 3,000 calorie diet. Your body has a much better chance of being in a calorie deficit at 3,000 calories as it does at 9,000 calories. So realizing that we are creatures that eat a volume of food. I've never finished a meal and said, man, I'm so stuffed full of calories. I've said, man, I'm stuffed full of food, but it's never, ever made a difference the number of calories that were in the food that I've eaten. It was the volume of the food that made a difference. Cindy here says that avocado can be calorically dense. A serving is only 2 tablespoons at 100 calories. Hard to gain weight on that, but it's hard to only stick to 2 tablespoons. Let's see. Karen here says, yes, healthy foods. Yes, that's the thing. You got to eat healthy foods while you're losing weight, because eating the unhealthy foods make it really tough. And I have people I know that they've lost weight while eating unhealthy food, but they are also at the gym or they're training and working out all of the time. But yes, avocado is only 750 calories per pound. So they are barely right of the red line. I would prefer avocado in very small amounts once a week than most other healthy fats. Yes, right. I wouldn't worry too much about the avocado, the shrinking shadow, unless you're not seeing any weight loss results. Then I would look at what you got going on, because that's what I did over the years here. I was drinking a lot of fruit juice, cut that out, eating a lot of avocado, cut that out. And it was the reason why I cut those things out was because they were keeping me from losing weight. But it wasn't just the avocado. It was the 4 slices of Ezekiel bread that I was putting the avocado on, that was also causing problems. So, let's see. Karen here says, I agree. So I only eat 1 ounce of guac a week. For me, it's easy. If I eat the guac, I don't eat the nuts. I only eat 100 calories of nuts in a day. When I do eat them, and I am careful how I eat. And Cindy here says she has 1 Brazil nut a day for the selenium. Sounds like somebody has read one of Dr. Greger's books. But yes. Yeah, it's not the healthy foods that we have to be so worried about. It's these unhealthy foods that we have to worry about, or it's what, the eating that food could potentially lead you down towards. But, yeah, it's, and it's about chaining the days together. It's about doing it in the long run. It's what you can do for the longest amount of time. And, if you can't do it without having the avocado, then have the avocado. But as long as it's, because there's a lot worse, like somebody said, there's a lot of other healthy fats that are worse for you than an avocado. So, let me think. I think I covered most of what I wanted to talk about. We got the myth of moderate change, myth of moderate consumption, volume eating, calorie density. I don't know. Can anybody else think of any of the other basics? Back to the basics, back to day 1, week 1 of the diet, right? Yeah. There's a lot more to it, but those are kind of the big things, continuing to educate yourself. Maybe I need to get another book and start listening to it to kind of re-motivate me. Who knows? I think I just finished. Carrie is pocket deleting comments, like mad. Carrie definitely didn't mean to delete all of your messages. She must have put you in timeout or something. Oh no. Karen giving all the good advice, and then Carrie did something. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll give her a chance to fix what she she screwed up. I'm gonna have to take away her moderator badge from her if she can't play nice with others. Sorry about that. I don't think you can undelete them either. Oh, Carrie's trying to blame it on chasing the dog around the neighborhood. And now I'm not seeing Carrie's comment on here. Here we go. So yeah, she must have. Oh, she was chasing Jasmine. Oh, yeah, she was chasing the dog around. So she had put the phone in her pocket. So I'm sorry, Karen. I'm hoping that it untimes you out and you can check back in. Cause yeah, that sucks. All your comments got deleted from the day then. Anyways. Yes. So get back to the basics, get back to the day one, week one. I don't know how to undo the timeout either. So I'm just hoping that Karen checks back in and says that it's been, I think it's 300 seconds or something like that. So it's like 5 minutes. Or is that right? Something like that. So, maybe we'll give her another minute to at least chime back in that we didn't ban her permanently. Yeah. I've been pretty excited here leading up to this last 40 pounds that I have to lose, 30, 40 pounds I have to lose. It was crazy this past weekend, just kind of, really, it's been crazy since middle of July. Just seeing a bunch of people that I had not seen for a year and then seeing them again and really of only losing, I guess it was probably 40 pounds since I had last seen them, maybe 50 pounds since I had seen many of those people. And just the difference in their reactions over the last 50 pounds that I've lost. It gets me pretty excited about what it's going to be like as I lose the next 30 to 50 pounds and get down to my goal weight. I've been trying to figure out, I want to get out and do something active. And it's kind of a hard time of the year to be getting into doing something active outside because the weather's starting to turn a little bit colder right now. But when I was at 340 pounds 2 years ago, so I've lost about 100 pounds, I guess, in 2 years. When I was at 340 2 years ago, I did a sprint triathlon where I did a 500-meter swim followed by a 15-mile bike ride. I think it was 15-mile bike ride and then a 5K run. And I did pretty good on the swim and I did all right on the bike. But when I got to the run, I just died. I just couldn't run at all. I was already tired from doing the swimming and doing the bike ride. So I was fatigued a bit, but the biggest thing for the run for me was that I guess maybe being that fatigued going into it, it made me realize how much my weight was impacting my ability to run and impacting my comfort while running. And so kind of, it was during the 5K that I made a decision that I wasn't going to pursue running until I reached my goal weight. And I have not really done much running at all since then. I've done a little bit of running with my son a couple weekends ago. He ran like 2.5 miles at the school track, and I probably did a mile around the track between walking and running. I definitely felt better doing it at 250 pounds than it did at 340 pounds, but I still wasn't, I know it could be easier, I guess, is what it was, what I realized. But I kind of want to get into running or biking or some sort of endurance kind of sport. Yeah, it's something I've been thinking about for the last couple weeks here, really since I got done with the Ragbri event. And that event is kind of a mental endurance week for me. And I'd kind of like to see if I could find a physical endurance that I could do that would be challenging and that I can do, you know, like you know, like I did that triathlon, which I didn't know if I could do, but that was 2 hours of labor, you know, I guess that was 2 hours that I was out there. So that was quite a while. But yeah, so I'm kind of been looking into different things like that. If anybody has any suggestions or if anybody does any type of, I don't know, longer distance biking or running, what do you think of it or how does it work? I'm worried now. Karen's not back. I don't think that, yeah, I think it just was in timeout. So hopefully she's back tomorrow. And if not, I'll have to remove Carrie as a moderator or something. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. I appreciate all you guys so much. It really keeps me motivated. It helps me to get back on track. Ron here says, if you're starting running, start with the Jeff Galloway run, walk, run method. Let me write that down. Yeah, I was looking a little bit into running stuff. I'm still apprehensive about running. But it just seems like an easy way. It doesn't cost a lot of money. I'm sure it can cost money, but anybody can just go out and run, right? Well, not anybody, but you know what I mean. There's no cost. There's no barrier of entry on running. You can just go outside and start running down the sidewalk. Obviously, if you want it to be comfortable, you probably need good shoes, good clothing, things like that. But I'll have to look into that. Karen is here. Thank goodness. Carrie apologizes profusely, Karen, for her accidental timing out of you. So sorry about that. It happens. It's all part of the live stream experience. But I am out of here. I will be back on tomorrow. I think I am not going to do a weigh-in because I don't feel like doing a weigh-in. So tomorrow I will be live in the afternoon like normal. But Carrie says she is sorry. There's no way to, yeah, it only lasts a few minutes. Yeah, it was actually what frustrated me the most about the timeout is that it deleted all your comments and you were participating in the conversation. So fortunately, I read all the comments. So they can just listen to me reading your comment. They don't have to actually see the comment in the live feed chat. Cindy says, LOL, yes, I love Dr. Greger and his Brazil nuts. Or eating the Brazil nuts. I think that was, I bought a bag of Brazil nuts after I read How Not to Diet. I think it was that one. Maybe it was How Not to Die. One of the two books. He talks about eating Brazil nuts and the selenium. All right. I'm out of here and I will be back on tomorrow. So thank you guys. If you have not subscribed to the channel, get subscribed to the channel. Hit that like button on the video. It does help the YouTube algorithms. I was 10 people away from hitting 2,000 subscribers. Unfortunately, somebody must have passed away because I dropped down to being 11 subscribers away. And it's the only reason I could see why somebody would unsubscribe from my channel is if they passed away and their family didn't want, me to think they were still following. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, get subscribed. Get me over 2,000 subscribers. 2,000 subscribers. That would be awesome. Cindy here says, eat when hungry, stop when you're full. Yes, just make sure you're going to the right buffet line or the buffet table's got the right food in front of you. Yes. So if you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. There's nobody that reaches their goal and looks back and says, man, I wish I would have waited. Everybody wishes they would have started sooner. I'm not even to my goal yet. And I wish I would have started 6 months sooner, a year sooner, 2 years, 10 years ago. Imagine where I'd be. But you got to get started now. And that's the key. So get started, clear out that pantry, and fill it with some healthy food. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.